Stacy. That name alone is enough to trigger migraines throughout our entire neighborhood. The self-declared supreme overlord of our HOA, clipboard in one hand, violation notices in the other. Her voice, a mixture of expired wine and passive-aggressive arrogance. Ever since I moved in, Stacy has had a personal vendetta against me because, unlike the herd, I don't bow to her made-up codes and neighborhood standards that read more like a dictatorship than guidelines. If my lawn grows 1 inch past regulation, I'm suddenly branded a property value threat. God forbid I hang a wind chime. Suddenly I'm disturbing the spiritual peace of the HOA boardroom. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama. So when I noticed a slow leak dripping from my laundry room ceiling, I figured I'd give diplomacy one last shot. I called the HOA just to notify them, thinking, maybe we could be civil about this. That's when Stacy pounced like a vulture on roadkill. You need to use our recommended plumber. He's the only one certified for HOA properties, she chirped, practically daring me to defy her. I was skeptical, of course. But hey, maybe, for once, playing ball would get her off my back. That plumber? Guy shows up in a rusty van with no business name, no logo, just a bumper sticker that said, "Flush happens." Real promising. But fine. I gave him a shot. He looked around, nodded like he knew what he was doing, quoted me an eye-watering price, and swore on his wrench it was a complicated job. Against my better judgment, and because Stacy stood there watching like a school principal during recess, I coughed up the money and let him work. 3 hours later, he leaves with my cash and a wink I didn't ask for. The leak seemed gone. Stacy strutted off like she'd won something, probably envisioning me adding a thank you to the next HOA newsletter. But of course, nothing's ever that simple with Stacy, and I'd learn real soon that this wasn't about plumbing. It was about control, and I had just opened the floodgates. 3 days. That's how long the peace lasted before my ceiling started weeping like a busted piñata. Same spot, same leak, only now it was worse. I grabbed a flashlight, crawled into the attic, and found the guy had slapped some duct tape on the pipe like it was a leaky garden hose. I was livid. Not because of the shoddy job, that I expected, but because I'd been played. So I did what anyone would do. I called him back. He answers with a casual, "Yo," like he's a teenager who just rolled out of bed. I explained the situation, and he goes, "Yeah, that'll be another $300. New visit, new quote." I reminded him he'd just fixed the problem 3 days ago. He didn't flinch. Take it or leave it. That was it. I was done being polite. I started asking around and found a plumber named Jack, young guy with actual credentials, stellar reviews, and get this, he charged a third of what Stacy's certified plumber charged. When I asked how soon he could come, he said, "Give me 30 minutes. It took me less time to text him my address than it did to regret ever listening to Stacy in the first place. Jack pulled up in a clean, well-labeled truck, clipboard in hand, uniform crisp, not a single "Flush Happens" sticker in sight. As he unpacked his tools, he gave me a rundown of what he'd need to check and repair. Everything about him screamed professional. He was efficient, polite, and focused. Exactly what I should have gotten the first time. But right when he was about to start assessing the pipes, who comes marching down the sidewalk like she's patrolling occupied France? You guessed it, Stacy. She must have gotten a notification from the CCTV system she had pointed at my house. Yes, she's that unhinged. She didn't knock. She didn't text. She stormed into my yard and zeroed in on Jack like a heat-seeking missile. "Excuse me. You are not authorized to be here. This is a private community and you're trespassing." Jack blinked at her, caught completely off guard. "I'm here for a plumbing call," he said calmly. "Not with my approval. You're not," Stacy barked, already dialing someone on her phone. I stepped outside, watching this fuse get lit in real time. I walked out just in time to see Stacy jabbing her phone in Jack's direction like it was a loaded weapon. "You need to leave this property right now before I have you removed. I don't care who hired you. You are not on the HOA-approved list." Her voice was sharp enough to shave bark off a tree. Jack looked at her, then at me, clearly trying to figure out whether this lady was serious or just having a heat stroke. I raised my hands, trying to defuse it. "Stacy, I hired him. The last plumber didn't fix the leak." She spun around like I'd insulted her ancestors. "That plumber was vetted and verified. If you're choosing to bring in outside contractors, you're violating our policy and risking the community's safety." Jack didn't even flinch. He calmly reached for his inspection form, probably thinking she was just another overly involved neighbor. That's when Stacy snapped. She slapped him. Right there, an open-handed smack right across his cheek. The yard went dead silent. Even the birds shut up. I stepped between them immediately, shouting, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Jack didn't say a word. He stood frozen for a moment, slowly turned his head back toward her, then reached into his pocket and pulled out his wallet. He flashed a laminated ID I hadn't noticed before. "I'm the son of Sheriff Glenn Holloway. You just assaulted a licensed professional, and I promise this is going to be fun." Stacy's jaw dropped. Her face drained of color like a clogged toilet finally giving out. "You're bluffing," she muttered, but her voice was cracking. "I'm not," Jack replied, tapping a contact on his phone. "And since you're the one who called the cops, well, this should be interesting." She looked down at her phone like it had betrayed her. Sure enough, 2 patrol cars rolled up within 5 minutes. Sirens off, but lights spinning lazily like they already knew what they were walking into. As soon as the first officer stepped out and recognized Jack, he smiled wide and said, "Hey, Holloway Jr., what's going on here?" Karen. Stacy suddenly looked like she'd swallowed a stapler. She tried to stammer out some excuse about trespassing, unlicensed work, neighborhood standards, but no one was listening. The sheriff's deputy turned toward her with a raised brow. "Ma'am, you called us?" Stacy blinked like a deer about to get steamrolled. "Yes, I called because this man was on the property without authorization and refused to leave." Her voice shook with every syllable, but she was too deep to back out now. The deputy looked her up and down. "So you called the cops on the sheriff's son?" He turned to Jack, who was still rubbing his cheek. "She hit you?" Jack nodded. "Full contact, unprovoked." "All right." The deputy pulled out a citation pad so fast it nearly whistled. "Ma'am, turn around." Her face twisted. "What? You're taking his word over mine? I'm the HOA president." "And I'm the law," the deputy replied coolly. "You're being cited for physical assault, contractor harassment, and filing a false report. You just earned yourself a courtroom seat. Congratulations." Karen started flailing. "He's not even certified. He's not on our approved list." I couldn't help but laugh. "Approved by who, Karen? Yourself? There's no list, just your recommendation." That's when Jack's dad, Sheriff Glenn Holloway himself, showed up. Full uniform, mirrored shades, and an expression that said, "Why do I even bother going on vacation?" He walked up, took one look at Jack, and then turned to Stacy. "Ma'am, that's my son. He's licensed, bonded, insured. Your slap just cost you a lawsuit. Hope your HOA covers that." It all snowballed from there. A formal investigation was launched. Turns out, the approved plumber Stacy kept forcing on the neighborhood was none other than her brother. No license, no insurance, no accountability, just inflated invoices and hush payments. Once word got out, 3 other homeowners came forward with complaints. 2 had mold damage from leaks he never fixed. The HOA board met under emergency session. After reviewing all the evidence, they had no choice. Stacy was stripped of her title, fined for abuse of authority, falsifying vendor records, and cherry on top, violating community trust. The legal team for the HOA slapped her with civil claims, and the sheriff's office launched their own investigation into potential fraud. Weeks later, a for sale sign appeared on Stacy's lawn. No goodbye. No apology. Just one final email. Effective immediately, I resign from my position with the HOA. Please direct all further correspondence elsewhere. No one replied. Her house sold under market value. She vanished. And Jack, he fixed the leak in 20 minutes flat and didn't charge me a dime. The end. Please like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think Karen got what she deserved? Comment below.